I'm Bethany Davis, and this is Being Real.
Sponsored by the Weight Clinic and Alpha Insurance.
For nearly 2 decades, Valorie Lawson has been the face of WSFA 12 News in the evenings, doing what she always knew she would end up doing. For Val, TV news wasn't something she considered. It was what she pursued for as long as she can remember. And now she doesn't intend to do it anywhere else. She and I work in the same newsroom, but our shifts are scheduled at opposite ends of the day, so we don't get to spend much time together until this conversation about juggling this job with her husband and 2 daughters, why this is the place she chose to unpack her boxes, and why Val believes she was made for TV.
Are you tired of feeling drained, being overweight, having no motivation? The Weight Clinic in Prattville can help. Weight loss isn't just a physical challenge, it's a mental challenge. That's why we support our patients every step of the way with physician-directed weight loss. We offer a variety of weight loss medication, supplements, and services tailored to your personal goals. Reclaim your motivation and energy and love you again. The Weight Clinic in Prattville. Call us today.
Communities don't just happen. They're built by people. From the big moments to the small acts of kindness. It's the authentic connections we make that define us.
Nice move.
At Alpha Insurance, we know that every day you're building things that are worth protecting. Because for us, this is more than coverage. It's who we are. Alpha Insurance, building tomorrow together.
You and I don't really ever get to see each other.
No, we don't.
Which is kind of cool that you're here. So I'm really glad that we made time. But people ask me all the time about you and tell me about Val, and I'm like,
I don't know.
If I see Val, something's really wrong.
Well, people ask me the same thing about you. They say, tell me about Bethany. I said, look, Bethany looks good. She works out, and that's all I know. And that's enough.
Because our schedules are complete opposites. So we never, truly, unless it's a presidential visit and we're literally passing in the studio or something really bad has happened and we're passing in the newsroom. That's about the only time we ever get to see each other. So I'm so glad that you made some time to spend. And so speaking of working out, though, I heard you're doing some working out.
Yeah.
Building some muscle.
Yeah, I've always kind of worked out, but I'm not a long-term kind of person. I'll work out for maybe 6 months and then something will get in the way. Something will happen with the kids or my routine will be interrupted and then I just won't start back. And so I joined Orange Theory. And I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
So interesting. That's pretty high intensity. And you told me, this has been a lot of years ago, but you told me one time that you had fired like 3 personal trainers in a row.
Listen, I've had my share of personal trainers and they can come and go, but this is different because it's like you have a personal trainer, but he or she is training the group.
Yeah.
So there's not that pressure,
That's
to
true.
perform. But I simply love it. And see, I told our news director and Shawnee, which who's a part of this show, and who else? Rosanna. And a lot of people in the newsroom were doing. I said, it's a cult, because they would run out of here and they would go to OTF. I said, it's a cult. I don't want to be a part of that. But when I started working out, I thought, this is what I like. I went and bought shoes. I have workout shoes.
Well, the thing is, if you look cute in your shoes, then you're going to want to look good when you're working out. And
That's
it
right.
goes better.
That's right. But I love it, love it, love it.
What do you love about it, though? Like, why has this been
Because I've been able to see
difference?
results, kind of immediately.
Yes.
And it's no secret what they're doing, I've done it before, but I like being in the class. I like being around the other people. I love the instructors. So it's been fun. It's been fun. High blood pressure, all of that runs in my family. I've been very blessed not to have any of that. My mom and my dad, my mom has high blood pressure, my dad has diabetes, but they also got it late in life. So I've been very blessed in that regard. I have a sister who has diabetes, and she's younger than me, so that's a concern.
Yeah.
And so I try to work out to try to keep that from happening.
I love that you've talked about your kids. How old are your girls, by the way?
13 and 15.
Are you kidding?
Going on 35 and 45.
You you are living in the teenage
Yeah.
world
Absolutely.
for sure.
Absolutely. And so, I got to have strength to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they get along?
Oh, yeah, they get along.
Do they?
Yes, I require that.
Okay.
That they
I
get
like
along. I
that.
require it because I tell them, I'm not going to be here forever. And this is your best friend.
Yeah.
They get on the phone and say, so-and-so's my best friend. I say, look to your left. I said, that's your best friend, okay?
Yeah.
So I want them to always depend on each other. I don't mind them having outside relationships, but I also want them to know that family is forever.
That's really cool. Well, they're close enough in age too, where they're, they can be friends. They're not. There's not that wide gap where it's like they have different sets of friends or they're into different things. What are they into? What are they doing?
That's a good question. It's TikTok.
Oh,
It is all
yes,
of
course.
I'm taking my daughters to school, and all of a sudden she flips out her phone, and I see her moving her mouth. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm just doing a TikTok. Why?
Why
So,
not?
Yeah, they're into the whole TikTok thing right now.
And do you have TikTok? Have you?
I have it on my phone so I can keep up with them.
Yes.
But no, I'm not really into the TikTok. I think about it all the time, that whole cuffing thing. I try to do it, by myself. But the girls won't do it with me. They like, Ma.
They don't want you in their TikToks?
Oh, no, that's cringy.
It's cringy. That is such a great word.
That's cringy. So no, I don't do TikToks with them.
And they don't want you to do
Oh,
TikToks?
no. But they want me to watch them do the TikToks.
Of course.
Yeah.
So have you learned any of the TikTok dances?
Oh, no. Only one I learned was the cuff it. Some of them are just too hard. I just can't do all that.
Some of them are really complicated. But some of them are fun. They're kind of catchy.
Yeah, they are catchy, but I'm gonna stick to just watching. That's just not my thing.
So your girls are 13 and 15. You've worked here since before they were born.
Oh yeah, I was here probably 6 months before I learned I was pregnant.
Oh, really? Was it that soon after? I didn't realize it was that quick.
It was fairly soon.
Wow.
Fairly soon. Maybe, I don't think it was a year. So my girls have grown up with me working at WSFA.
And do they understand that you are Valorie Lawson at WSFA 12 News?
I think so. And I say that because my daughter sent me a text one day, and it said, Valorie Lawson makes $1 million a year. And so somebody sent it to her.
I need your agent.
And I'm like, Leah, I said, who sent you this? She said, well, this is what everybody thinks you make. I was like, girl, no. So they think that, I think they know that my mom's Valorie Lawson, but they still know that I'm just Mom.
Yeah.
And it's just when I go to their school events, some of their friends may say, oh, I didn't know your mom was Valorie Lawson. And then they're like, yeah. And so, especially my youngest, she doesn't like the attention.
Oh.
Yeah, she doesn't like the attention at all. So I think at some point in her life, she just may change her name.
No. Well, maybe she'll just get married.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I think the name change and nose piercings and all of that will happen before that. Yeah.
Do you feel like, I've said for a lot of years, this is not a family-friendly job to have. It's not a family-friendly business. The hours are, well, they're just god-awful, really. There's no good TV schedule. How have you managed that? I mean, you've managed to hold you've done a really good job from my perspective of holding your family together through a really tough business and in a tough position.
Well, families, that's my priority.
Yeah.
You have a plan in place to take care of your family, whether it's how to get them from school, how to get them to school, how to make sure they're doing their homework. And you just hold your breath and hope that that plan works, especially as a working mom. But if it doesn't, then I have to spring into action and become Mom, and I have to put that first. And my girls know that. If they call me and they need me, the first thing I'm going to say is, okay, let's talk through this. Do you really need me to come to the school? Can you sit in the nurse's office until your dad picks you up or until I come? Is that an option for you? And I know my girls. I know when they're just tired and they're just ready to come home. So I'll try to talk them through that. I said, well, Mama can't come get you right now. Let's see what we can do. So my family's my priority. Work makes allows me to do things for my family, for my girls. And so I tell them that. I said, if mama don't go to work, then I can't get your hair done. I can't get those nails done. And then they say, all right, we'll see you later. But they know that there's a balance there, and they try not to be whiny. They know this is something I have to do. So I know when they call me, it's an emergency. If they say they don't feel like going to school today because they're sick, I know that they're not playing because they know that work is important.
Yeah. Have you had moments where you've had to just get up and leave, get up and walk away?
From them?
It may bother you wanted to walk away from them, but I meant from work. We can go back to that.
I probably have. And but if it's ever happened, it's an emergency.
Yeah.
We don't play. One thing my parents instilled in me was a good work ethic. I mean, I have worked since I was 16 years old. I held 3 jobs right out of college. And I have a good work ethic. So I know that it's important for me to work. I tell them it's important that mama works. So they know that this is important to me. So again, they're not going to call me unless it's an emergency. And if I have to drop everything, I just have to drop everything.
Yeah.
Because my family is my priority. And I've seen a lot of people get divorced and just go through really tough times because of this business.
Yeah.
I mean, it can tear a family apart.
Yes.
So my prayer is that I'm just doing everything right to keep them together so that they can graduate from high school, go on to college, and become productive citizens.
You must
That's
be
my
doing
goal
something right.
in life. We'll see. We'll see if it pays off.
Because you pulled it together. Is this what you always wanted to do?
Yes, since I was 12 years old.
Really?
You can ask anybody who's known me from childhood. When they see me, they say, Val, you are doing what you've always wanted to do. I am living the American dream.
You are.
I have never worked a day in my life.
What was it? What was it about this business that said that was it?
I don't know. I've always been a TV watcher, and I've always watched the news. And in Huntsville, there were a few people on TV I would always watch, and there wasn't like a whole bunch of careers that I really wanted to do. So I was always a talker. You know, I always had this big personality. So this is just it. You know, I remember being in the mirror at my mom's house and just, you know, the old brush and the newspaper thing. I used to do that.
Oh, no.
Yes. Yes. When I was in high school, some of my high school friends, I will see them today, and they will say, you are doing exactly what you wanted to do. And I said, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you plan on staying here in Montgomery, Alabama this long? Because now we're talking, what year did you come?
2006.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, this was the end of the road for me. I unpacked my boxes. Yeah. I had been living in boxes since about 2000 maybe 2002, somewhere around there. I've been living in boxes, never unpacked. I'd moved to Birmingham. That's where I was in Huntsville, moved into an apartment as soon as I made $18,000. And after I was in Huntsville, I went to Birmingham, and I just lived in boxes. Went from Birmingham to Memphis, never really unpacked. Went from Memphis back to Birmingham, never really unpacked, and I unpacked my boxes here.
You unpacked your boxes. I like that line.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here you are.
And here I am.
Now, have you been living in the same place since 2006?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I had just gotten married before I moved here, and that's how I knew it was time for me to stop moving, because I wanted a family.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to drag a family from job to job. It wouldn't be fair to them. You know, you want your kids to grow up with friends and just have a life.
Yeah.
Because I've lived my life. You know, it's time for me to work so that I can provide for my children. And so this is where I want to do that.
So tell me about your husband, Corey.
Whew, what do you want to know?
How did y'all meet?
How did we meet? Going back to high school, I was living in Birmingham, and I ran into a friend of mine. Well, she really wasn't even a friend. I can't even say Sabrina was a friend. We went to the same high school together. And she saw me in Winn-Dixie, and she came up to me, and she said, hey, Val. And she said, I haven't seen you in forever. And so we just started talking, and she, of course, said, you're doing what you've always wanted to do. We started talking about that, and she said, are you married? I said, no, I'm not married. You know, at my age at that time, everybody thought, you know, she's got to have a husband. I said, no, I'm not married. And then she said, oh, okay, well, it's good seeing you. Maybe a couple of weeks or months after that, I saw her again at a shoe store. And she came rushing up to me. She was pregnant. And she said, I have found you a husband. And I said, look, I don't know you from Adam, really. We just went to high school together. How can you know my type? She said, oh, he's so nice, blah, blah, blah. And I had been on this blind dating kind of circuit. And I was like, oh, I can't take another blind date. I just cannot. I had gone on a blind date before that girl. His breath was so bad. I said, I'm just not doing this anymore. So anyway, she says, you need to meet him. And so I'm in a store, and now I got this crowd of people behind me saying, you need to go on the date. They know who I am. And so I went on the date. And from that moment, we were just really inseparable.
Really?
Yeah, we went to a movie, we had dinner, and we had a lot in common. And from that day, we were just kind of inseparable.
The blind date that worked out.
Girl, if you've ever been on that blind date circuit, it is a nightmare. And so, I was kind of ready to settle down anyway.
Yeah.
And so it just worked out. We had we both liked politics. I was covering politics in Birmingham, so we talked a lot about politics in Birmingham. We both loved family, being around our families. And yeah, that's it.
And the rest is history.
And the rest is history.
But still, marriage is not easy.
No.
And like we've said, marriage in this job is even less easy.
Mm-hmm.
How have you made it work? That's a lot of years. That's a lot of years to put behind you.
Well, I think we really never spend a lot of time together. So you
Maybe
never
that's
really.
a secret.
I think it is, because you really never know the person, in a sense.
Yeah.
So when you do spend that time together, it's special.
It's almost like re-getting to know each other.
He worked days, I worked nights, and on the weekends we were always doing something with the kids, running with the girls. So when we did find that time, it was almost like dating all over again.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that you told me you're an introvert, because while we don't see a lot of each other in the newsroom, your persona is not introverted.
I know.
And you're somewhat known for speaking your mind. And
Am I? Really?
not in a bad way.
I think I like to say things in a jokingly manner.
In a joking manner,
Yeah.
but people generally seem to know where you stand,
Yes.
or at least where they stand with you.
Yes, yes.
So, how do you feel like you evolved out of your introvertedness, or is it something you've grown? Is this a personality you've grown into, or did this job make a difference?
I think the job made a difference. I think at some point you have to take a stand. You just have to let people know where you stand.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, they'll walk all over you. And it's not a matter of keeping people from walking all over me. I just think you need to know where I stand. You need to understand me, and I need to understand you. And once we have that understanding, I think we can get along. Oh, and by the
There's
way,
so much.
I love this. I'm going on the record as saying,
Okay.
I love this idea.
Because there is so much strength, and I think there's so much, honestly, I think there's so much strength in womanhood, and in shared womanhood that does not get the attention that it deserves. So I wanted to ask, who is a woman, or who are several women for you that you have maybe even looked up to a little bit, but where you have been able to find your strength?
Well, my strength is in my household, my mama.
Yeah.
My mom, my grandmother, both my grandparents. They encouraged me. I mean, I don't care what it was. I would record, and again, this is before the internet, I would record my newscast and send them to my grandmother. And when I would go down there to see her, she was so proud.
Oh, man.
She was so proud of what I was doing. And that just motivated me to do more. And my mom, I think back, my brothers and sisters and I went to school. We graduated with no debt.
Wow.
No debt. Because my parents put us through school.
Wow.
So, and my dad he worked for a plant. My mom was actually going to school when we were going to school, but they found a way to make that happen.
Wow.
You never bragged about it, but as an adult, when you look back, The
That is
sacrifice
incredible.
that they made for us,
That is incredible.
it's incredible. And my grandparents, I would call them because my dad's mom, I would move a lot. And she'd call, and I'd call her, and she'd say, "You'd move for 50 cents, won't you?" And I said, "Yes, grandmother." She said, "Well, I'm going to continue to pray for you. I'm praying for you." And so I haven't got here by myself. I've gotten here through the prayers of my grandmothers, my mother, and my aunts, who have taught me things like, how not to burn chicken, how to
Still learning that one.
and how to do those things like make a pie. And it's not about making the pie, it's about spending time with them and listening to the stories of when they grew up. Because that's what we're doing. We're laughing, we're talking, and in the process, we're making a pie.
Let's play a little game.
Oh gosh, okay.
Don't think.
All right.
Just give me the first thing that pops in your mind.
Okay.
Let's call this a real moment here. We're
Okay.
about to get real. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke,
Basketball or football?
football,
Oh, good. Sweet or salty?
salty.
Comedy or suspense?
Oh, comedy,
Cats or dogs?
neither.
Neither?
I've got 2 dogs, I'll say dogs. I'll say dogs, I've got 2 dogs at home.
What's your favorite season?
Spring,
Favorite fast food restaurant?
Burger King.
Interesting.
Yeah, we call it the VK Lounge.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song?
Oh, ooh, I'm gonna have to pass. I can't think. I love music. I have so many. And okay, let's see. Lovely Day by Bill Withers.
Oh. Okay, why?
Well, it reminds me, the band at A&M plays it a lot. And it
Okay.
reminds me of my college days, and
Yes.
so I play it a lot.
That's fun.
That's kind of my workout, cool down song.
That's your cool down. Do you have like a pump you up song? Like what song can really get you going?
Oh, wow. Let's see which one that is on my playlist. It is, let's see. What's the name of the band? It's a Jay-Z song, but he sings it with someone else. Because there's a line in there that says, "I came, I saw, I conquered."
Ooh, I like that.
And every time I get to that, I say it to myself, kind of out loud. You kind of sing the songs in your head, but it says, "I came, I saw, I conquered."
I like it.
And I think that kind of sums up my career.
I think that does. So if you're just around the house, if you're cooking, you're doing the laundry, what are you singing in your head?
Probably, what am I singing in my head? I'm probably not singing, I'm probably listening to a podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
What kind of podcast are you into?
There is one. Oh, see, now I got to name the podcast.
You don't have to name it.
But it's about history. It's about
History,
history.
because you love history.
It's about history. It's a combination of history and news.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Not singing, listening.
So do you feel like even when you leave work, you kind of take a little bit of that news world with you? Or
No.
do you have moments where you're like, I am not listening to anything, I
I
don't want
shut
any
it down.
headlines?
I
Yeah.
shut it down. I really do, because I want to be present for my family. And when I was single, that's all I did. I'd come home, my life revolved around news.
Wow.
But now, as a mom, as a wife, I have to shut it down at some point. I'm still connected.
Yeah.
I'm not totally out of the loop, but I want to be present for my kids.
Yeah. So is there something that you tell yourself before you go on the air? Is there any
I can't
do
say
you
it
have
here.
Well, now I'm really curious.
Well, before the newscast, sometimes we used to say, "Okay, y'all ready? You ready? Let's do it. Let's do it." And then we do it.
I like that. You kind of pump each other up.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll say that that's the one thing that I just always enjoy about you is that you are such a cheerleader. I have seen
Thank you.
I mean, we've interacted, obviously. It's not like we just never, ever interact. But I also see the way you interact with other people, and particularly younger women in our newsroom. And you're always such an encourager and such a cheerleader and a
Well, thank
lifter
you.
upper, particularly of other women. And I just wondered if there's something behind that. Is there a specific reason behind that, or is that's just who you are?
I think that's who I am. I always think that women should have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
I really do. And it's up to us to speak up. I think now we're seeing more women at the top. Mm-hmm. And I think those role models are important for my daughters and other young ladies. So I want to cheer them on. You know, we have a lot of young people who come through here and they move on. And people are like, I can't believe she's moving on. I want her to move on. I don't want you to be here a second longer. I want to see you move on because this is where you start and I want to see you go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so if there's any way that I can encourage that, that's what I want to do.
Do you see yourself as a role model, as a mentor?
I hope I'm a mentor. I hope I'm a role model. I mean, it's not something that I just set out to do, but I hope that's what I am.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad that we got to spend some time
Thank
together.
you,
I'm so
Bethany.
glad we never really get to hang out.
I
And so
know,
I
I
really
know.
enjoyed just hanging out with you.
Well,
Little
thanks.
girl
And I
talk.
want to say again, I am so proud of y'all.
Oh.
So proud of y'all. Anytime there is a moment to promote women and what they're doing, I am so for it. So
Wow.
congratulations on the podcast.
Well, thank
and I know it
you.
will be successful.